Ever looked at your bill, seen that service charge, and just felt a bit confused? You are definitely not alone. We're going to clear up exactly when that charge should and shouldn't have VAT applied to it here in the UK.
So this whole discussion was actually arranged by the experts over at ProTax Accountant. With 18 years of experience under their belts, they've seen firsthand how this one little issue can cause some pretty big headaches for both customers and businesses.
We've all been there, haven't we? You've had a great meal, the bill arrives, and you're just staring at the numbers trying to make sense of it all. What are you actually paying for with that extra line item?
So, the big question, should there be VAT on a service charge? Well, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. Nope. It all boils down to one single crucial difference in the type of charge it is.
And here it is. This is the golden rule. Service charges basically fall into two camps. On one side, you have the mandatory charge. That's a fixed fee that you absolutely have to pay. And on the other, you have the discretionary charge, which is optional. Think of it as a suggested tip that you can always ask to have removed.
So let's look at mandatory charges first. If a service charge is compulsory and you have no choice but to pay it, then HMRC, that's the UK's tax authority, sees it as just another part of the service you paid for. And because of that, it is subject to VAT, usually at the standard 20% rate.
But on the flip side, if that charge is genuinely optional, and I mean, they make it clear you have a choice and you can refuse to pay it, well, then it's considered outside the scope of VAT. Simple as that. No VAT is due.
Okay, sounds like a simple enough rule, right? But you'd be surprised. Getting it wrong can have some pretty significant consequences for businesses. Let's take a look at how this actually plays out in the real world.
Let's take Sarah, a restaurant owner up in Manchester. She added a 12.5% service charge to her bills, thinking it would cover staff costs. But here's the catch. The charge was mandatory. Over the year, she brought in £50,000 from these charges, all while thinking they were VAT-free.
And the result of that mistake? Well, when HMRC took a look at her books, they found the error. Sarah was hit with a surprise £10,000 VAT bill, and that was before the penalties. You know, this is such a common misconception. A lot of business owners think, hey, if the money goes directly to my staff, it must be VAT-free, right? Wrong. A caterer in Bristol learned this the hard way. If the charge is mandatory, it makes no difference where the money ends up.
And the consequence for him was severe. An HMRC audit found £25,000 in unpaid VAT. Then they added a £5,000 penalty on top. That's a £30,000 misunderstanding. Ouch. So where are you most likely to run into these different charges? Well, it really depends on the place. You're much more likely to see mandatory charges in fine dining restaurants or at big event venues. Whereas more casual spots like pubs, salons, and even food delivery, they tend to go with optional, discretionary tips.
So why does all this matter? Well, whether you're a business owner trying to stay compliant or you're a customer who just wants to understand what's on your bill, this one little rule is absolutely crucial.
For all the business owners listening, here is a quick 4-step checklist to help you avoid any nasty surprises. It's really all about making sure your invoices are crystal clear, your systems are set up right, you're checking the official guidance, and you're keeping good records.
And listen, this is super important for any business that's getting close to the VAT registration threshold. For the 2025/26 tax year, that threshold is £90,000. See? Those mandatory service charges, they count towards that total. They can easily tip a growing business over the limit without you even realizing it.
And for the rest of us, as customers, it's really just about being informed. The next time you get a bill, just have a quick glance. Is the service charge clearly labeled optional? If it isn't, VAT should have been applied to it. And don't forget, you always have the right to ask for a discretionary charge to be removed.
And believe me, the stakes here are high. This isn't just some minor paperwork error. In 2024 alone, HMRC issued £1.8 million in penalties to hospitality businesses just for mistakes related to service charges.
So, when it all comes down to it, it really boils down to one simple question. Is the service charge mandatory? If the answer is yes, it needs VAT. If it's a genuine choice, then no, it doesn't. It's that straightforward.
Now, while that principle is pretty simple, applying it across different types of businesses can get a little tricky. So for some real peace of mind and professional advice that's tailored to your exact situation, you can always reach out to the experts at ProTax Accountant. And I'll just leave you with this final thought. Now that you're armed with this knowledge, how are you going to look at the next bill you get? A little differently, I bet.